I watched the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and I'm not gonna pull any fancy shit for this video. No, funny editing, or I'm not even gonna edit together a video for this. I'm just gonna go moist critical style. I'm just gonna sit in front of the camera, tell you what I thought, and man, do I have some fucking thoughts. Holy crap! So, before we talk about the Mario Galaxy movie, you're probably gonna want to know what I think about the first film. Well, I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. From a critical sense, it was probably a 6 out of 10, very light on story, generic writing, and characters, but also, it was a Mario movie. It didn't need anything crazy when it comes to story or characters or anything, and the references didn't hurt. They feel like they came from a place of love, and the movie as a whole felt like one big love letter to Mario. What about the second one? This feels like a baffling bastardization of the best game in the entire franchise. It feels like it spits on the legacy of Mario Galaxy. It feels like it exploits the Mario name to draw in more kids begging their parents to see Mario on the big screen. And to be honest, kids deserve better than this. Holy crap, this was certainly a movie. Was it a movie that I liked? Quite the opposite, in fact. I got some fucking thoughts on this one, man. Like, holy crap. So, before we talk about the movie, once again, you probably want to know what I think about the Mario Galaxy game. I love it. It's an all time favorite of mine. I grew up playing it. It means so much to me, the soul, the emptiness of space, the loneliness, and the stronger emphasis on story. The Mario Galaxy story isn't amazing or anything, but it's there. There was an attempt, and for what it is, it works perfectly. Rosalina's story was something that I was looking forward to seeing done in this movie. Boy, will we get to that, and boy, will we get to fucking Rosalina. Holy crap, this movie spits on her face. Okay, I spits on a lot of things, but a lot bigger emphasis on Rosalina. I am out of thoughts. I am stuttering a whole lot in this video. This is gonna be fun to talk about. So Mario Galaxy, the Mario Galaxy movie. When I saw it was announced, I thought that was odd. Okay, we're jumping straight to space for the second movie. I thought maybe they'd do a second movie that's like more ground level, Sunshine or Odyssey, and then move on to space. No, we're just doing it second outing. They saw the success with with the first Mario movie and thought, okay, you know what? Let's try something bigger. Let's do Mario Galaxy. That'll draw a lot of people in without thinking about, okay, will this fit as a sequel? This work as a strong progression as a sequel? And yeah, it picks up for where the last movie. Holy fuck! It picks up where the last movie it picks up for the. It picks up where the last movie left ended. I am stuttering. Holy crap! I am fuming right now. I cannot keep myself composed for this damn video because the movie pissed me the fuck off. Okay, let's try again. The movie starts off where the last movie left. Mario and Luigi are the protectors of the Mushroom Kingdom. Princess Peach is still being a princess, and Bowser is still a midget. And what do you know? Another Bowser midget comes into the picture, Bowser Jr. And that was the thing that a lot of people were talking about with the trailers. They thought, Benny Safdie as Bowser Jr.? Who the hell thought of that? But to be honest, he actually wasn't that bad. He kind of fits the raspy, uh, edgy teenager vibe of the character that I kind of bought into that angle that they were doing with the character. Um, but later things that happen with the character that they do in the story, I will say that had me questioning things like, okay, maybe this wasn't a great idea in the first place. So, let's start at the beginning. With the trailers kind of gradually coming out with the movie, I thought, okay, this doesn't really feel like Galaxy. I felt like it kind of lost sight of its identity. Like it wasn't doing the Galaxy games enough justice, even though that was the namesake of the movie. But then I saw more trailers and I saw more space. I'm like, okay, this is starting to look more like a Galaxy movie. And I will say there is a lot of space stuff in the movie. Did I particularly like the way they used that space stuff? No. Um. Anyways, so as we move along, I thought the first act of the movie actually wasn't too bad. It wasn't terrible. It was serviceable, kind of a weaker version of the first movie, but it was finely paced. It was decently paced. Finally isn't even a word, whatever. Decently paced. I liked the way they were kind of introducing new things. The scenes were cute. Yoshi was cute, but for most of the movie, he's kind of just there. Um, but then we get to space, and that's when everything starts to fall apart. So, about the story, the previous film didn't have much of a story, and that was fine. The Mario games don't have anything crazy when it comes to story. But this is Galaxy. And this movie actually attempts to have a story. It attempts to have themes. And boy, does it fail miserably. So, the biggest offender of this, well, there's two big offenders. Mario and Luigi actually get the least amount of character developments and focus in this movie, which is fine. They don't really get that in the games either. But Peach, Rosalina, Bowser Jr., I feel like they could have done some really interesting stuff with how they contrasted their familial relationships and maybe contrasted found family, how Peach found family with the Toads, Rosalina found with the Lumas, and maybe real family isn't what we need. You know, with Bowser and Bowser Jr.'s relationship, Bowser Jr. brings him to a darker side, whereas Bowser kind of found a newfound family with Mario and Luigi. I thought maybe they were going to that angle. And then the third act happened. Holy crap. So I had a bit of a Mario bias with the previous movie. I gave it a 7 instead of a 6 because I let my Mario bias kind of win me over, and I liked it a bit more. But with this one, Mario bias isn't saving it. In fact, it's hurting it even more because this completely spits in the face of Super Mario Galaxy. So let's start with Rosalina, the title character of Super Mario Galaxy, and she barely shows up. You advertise this as the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Oh, Brie Larson, Captain Marvel's playing Rosalina. What happened to that? What did you guys genuinely plan on doing with her? I feel like the writers got so carried away with, oh, let's get this reference in, let's reference this character, let's reference this game. Oh crap, we forgot to add Rosalina, and whatever, who cares? It's gonna make $1 billion. That is my genuine thought of my genuine visualization of what they were thinking when writing this movie. And mind you, Shigeru Miyamoto was deeply involved in this. This completely disrespects his game, and yet he let it slide. What are we doing? You should have more value for your work. You should not let this kind of stuff slide. But you did. And it ends up being the Mario Galaxy movie. That's the product. Illumination shits out yet another sloppy movie. And I will say, it's not quite as bad as some of their other films, but with that being said, it's still pretty awful. I should have stated at the beginning. Whatever. We're not going based on a script for this one. I'm just going right off the top of my head because I have so many thoughts that I just want to blurt them out right here before they get stale. Anyways, so Rosalina, she gets captured. It's like a worse version. They doubled down on what they did with Luigi in the first film, which that was one of my biggest problems with the first film. Luigi's barely in it. Here, they do that same thing with Rosalina, except it's doubled down. She has a grand total of 10 minutes of screen time. And you might think, okay, that's a lot. No. She gets one cool action scene, and then the rest of her scenes are either in flashbacks or in prison. Like Luigi in the first movie, except worse. She's a damsel in distress, which is not how she's portrayed in the games whatsoever. I feel like there are so many revisions, ways you could have made her have a more active role in the movie. And then Bowser. They actually try to give him a good redemption arc, and for a moment there I thought, okay, maybe this could work. Maybe we're onto something. I actually kind of liked how they had him grow more endeared to Mario and Luigi over the course of the film. And then they completely screw it. They just decide, okay, you know what? Let's throw it away. Let's get Dry Bowser in here. Like, he's got to turn bad so we can get Dry Bowser in here. They just decide, you know what? I'm going to turn back to evil because my son made a big planet for me. My son wants me to be evil again. You know what? I'm going to do it. I feel like it could have been so much more impactful. Well, not necessarily impactful. Illumination's not really known for being impactful, but so much more, so much stronger of an arc for Bowser if they actually had him temporarily turn back to the dark side, but then in the final battle turn on his son and turn back to the good side. That could have been a great turnaround, a great arc for the character. That was one of the things that I wanted from his character, but no. They completely give up on giving him an arc when they actually had something pretty decent going for him. So yeah, those two characters kind of pissed me off. Bowser for the missed potential, Rosalina also for the missed potential, but also for the disrespect. This is a Mario Galaxy movie. And you can barely get Rosalina right. That's how you know you had the wrong people making the damn movie. And that's how you know you should have adapted this game in the first place. Now, I'm barely getting started. There is so much more I want to bring up. The pacing. So, one of my biggest problems with the first movie. Bit too fast paced. I didn't need story, but I think we needed a bit more time to breathe. It jumped from action scene to action scene, though it was fine because those action scenes were good. And in this one, the action scenes are also good. So is the music and the score. The music, visuals, action, they're all great in this one. But that can barely save this from being an otherwise empty movie without substance. The Mario Galaxy games had a soul to it. It had emptiness, this emptiness that brought a sense of loneliness to it. And here, it sucks all of the soul out and it's empty, but not in the good way that the games were. In this one, it's just empty. It's just soulless reference after reference after reference. It feels excessive, like it's exploiting Mario. Like, oh, let's put this in because this will draw more people in. Let's put this in. This will draw a lot more people in. And they decide, you know what, let's exploit other games. We will get to Fox McCloud. Holy crap. Anyways, yeah. It sucks Mario Galaxy of all the soul, beauty, elegance, and story potential that it had to make it a soulless, empty, corporate piece of trash. I am losing my shit right now, and we are just getting started. Anyways, Fox McCloud, to be honest, I think he was probably my favorite character in the movie. Glenn Powell was fine, and I'd actually maybe look forward to a Star Fox movie by Illumination if they got different writers, because holy crap, Jelinek cannot write. But I will say, I liked him as a character. Didn't like his inclusion, though. He felt forced. And the fact that they announced him before it even came out, this could have been a huge surprise. In fact, I wouldn't really have any problem with him if they didn't announce him. But they announced him. So, when I saw him on screen, I didn't go, hey, that's Fox McCloud. No, I just stared at the screen and I said, oh, that's Fox McCloud. Okay, I guess that's cool. They saw that that Mario Galaxy is set in space and thought, hey, Mario Galaxy is set in space. Let's just add Star Fox in it. His games are also set in space. It would make sense. But the most baffling part, he gets more focus than Rosalina. A character from another game gets more screen time and attention than the title character of the game that the movie is adapting. What were we doing? What are we thinking, Illumination? This is Mario Galaxy that we are adapting, not Star Fox, not Smash Bros. And then the references. The first movie had me pointing at the screen going, oh, hey, I remember that. Hey, I remember that. You know, like, I was surprised by a lot of the references. They actually kind of wore them by heart. I was surprised by some of the references. They warmed my heart. I liked a lot of the references in the first movie. They all came from a place of heart. In this one, I saw the references. I understood what they were from, but they didn't surprise me. They did not have me pointing at the screen whatsoever. I was not impressed because they felt excessive. They felt like they were just put there to have people point their fingers and say, hey, I remember that. Hey, I remember that. And that's what this entire movie has become. When it could have been so much more rich, such a rich story. It could have been something genuinely great, which is a miracle for Illumination standards. Like, even their best movie is just pretty good. I was rooting for this movie, thinking this could be their first genuinely great movie if they actually had a serviceable story. But the story is what hinders the movie the most. I didn't criticize the movie I didn't criticize the first movie for having a lackluster story because it didn't need one. But I'm criticizing this one for its story because it actually tries to have a deeper story and it fails miserably. Its theme, I think it tried to have a theme of family. And like, okay, that's fine, that could work. But then again, I thought Bowser and Bowser Jr.'s relationship was cute. I thought it was fine. But then Bowser Jr., being the little shit he is, pissed me off by turning Bowser back to the dark side. I thought he could have turned on his son and see that that's not the family that he needs. And then Rosalina and Peach. Okay, so they're sisters. That's fine, that could have worked. But I wanted a bit more faithfulness to the original game's backstory. I was sitting there and I saw how they revealed it and I thought, okay, but you could have revealed this in a way more in line with the games. You know, I was thinking of how if I were in charge of this movie, how if I were to direct it, I could have so easily implemented the way they told the game story into this sequence, into these scenes. I could have so easily slotted her in instead of completely retconning the backstory for something so stupid. Like, and it's not helped by the fact that Rosalina is barely in it. Like, they could have developed on their bond more if she was in it more. And you know what? I feel like it would have worked so much better if neither of them knew they were sisters. What if they both found out? What if they both realized? Maybe they could have kept her in by having her not know that she's her sister. And then that way they can actually work together without knowing their bond, and then finding out later. And then that would have worked. It would have made their work pay off more. But when they finally are reunited in the end, it doesn't feel like payoff. In fact, by the end of the movie, it feels like nothing has happened. When so much in the movie happened, so much dumb crap happened, so much unnecessary crap. I haven't gotten to the unnecessary subplots. Holy crap. You could have slotted those unnecessary subplots out for something more meaningful, something more in line with the story. So many galaxies that got skipped out on for something that's not even from Mario Galaxy. I'm looking at the Warp Casino subplot and the Fossil Falls subplot from Mario 2 and Odyssey. The War Casino was a big homage to Mario 2, obviously, and a bit of a homage to the Sunshine Casino, whatever. Anyways, that didn't feel like it was relevant. They could have so easily gotten rid of that and replaced it with something so much more meaningful, but it's just there as one big pointless reference to Mario 2, which is probably one of the least popular Mario games. Who cares about Mario 2? Okay, there's maybe a few people that care about Mario 2, but even then, this is a Galaxy movie, not the Mario 2 movie. And then there's the Fossil Falls subplot. Again, it could have been so easily written out of there and put in for something more meaningful. But it's there to be a reference to Mario Odyssey, to be a reference to Yoshi's Island, to pad out the runtime. And then after that, they go to the final battle. I'm like, oh, we're here already? I thought this was longer than the first movie, but no. It's so fast-paced that it honestly feels like it's shorter than the first movie. It feels like it's barely an hour long, even though it's nearly an hour and 40 minutes long. And that brings me to the thing that angers me the most, that the indicator that this movie was going to be a mess. The runtime. When I saw that this movie was going to be an hour and 38 minutes, I thought, okay, I guess you could do a bit more stuff with 6 more minutes. But then I thought, I saw all the stuff they were cramming in there, and I thought, no, no, wait a minute, that's not enough. This movie desperately needed more room to develop its characters, to develop its themes, to actually add in meaningful stuff instead of pointless references, pointless scenes. It needed more room. They could have kept in those things, and they could have kept in those pointless subplots, but still added in more meaningful stuff if it had a longer runtime. I wanted it to have a runtime more in line with something like the Sting movies that were like an hour and 50 minutes long. If it had that, it could have had so much room to breathe, so much room to have its characters, to have some breathing space in between its action scenes, which didn't feel unnecessary, but needed something in between them, some supplement, something to prepare us. This one had a stronger emphasis on story, so that's why I'm criticizing it more for its story. And it is just a mess. It keeps jumping from point A to point B without reason. Oh, let's add this one in. That's a cool action scene. Let's add this in. That's a cool action scene. Oh, this is Gateway Galaxy. Sure, it's just a. Apologies for the momentary interruption. Anyways, yeah, it's just there. Every action scene is just a bridge to the next action scene, and they don't feel like they service the story. Barely anything feels like it services a story. Even the scenes that are more story focused are so poorly done that I just completely ignore the potential they had. There was the potential for something mildly interesting with these themes, but they just don't give it enough time to develop. Not enough time to expand on them. They feel suffocated. They feel like they're just drowned. The story feels like it's just drowning in this onslaught of excessive references that don't service the Mario games, that doesn't service Mario Galaxy. It just feels like the story is there because people wanted a story, so let's add a story. Who fucking cares if it's terrible? So yeah, maybe I have a bit of Mario bias, but this time the Mario bias is actually hurting my opinion on the movie because I love Mario Galaxy so much. To see how much they massacred the Mario Galaxy name makes it even worse in my mind. The critics were actually onto something. I saw that 45% score when it initially came out, and I thought, okay, maybe they're being a bit too harsh. This is probably just an alright movie. No, it's actually somehow even worse than that 45% score. It wasn't so bad that I started stabbing myself or beating my son. No, it wasn't that bad. But it was pretty fucking infuriating knowing Mario Galaxy, knowing what they were adapting. And this feels like a bastardization, a big fuck you to Super Mario Galaxy. And that is what infuriates me the most. It feels like they just slapped the Mario Galaxy name on here because it's set in space. It's Mario Galaxy. This feels more like the Super Mario movie 2. It feels more in line with the first movie instead of an adaptation of Mario Galaxy. I'm going to be comparing this to the games a lot because this is the game that it's fucking adapting. What else? What else can I add to this? It's the Mario Galaxy movie. This feels like a movie, but not in a good way. Okay, if that I need to explain that part more. This is probably the most exploitative movie adaptation I've seen in a while. One that doesn't respect the game it's adapting, but rather uses it to garner money. And seeing the numbers that's raking in, it worked. Good job, Nintendo. You completely shat on the name of your best game for some money. Are you happy? Are you proud of yourself, Nintendo? Are you proud of yourself, Illumination? Are you proud of yourself, Mr. fucking Maladandri? I hope you are, because you just completely tarnished the Mario Galaxy game. And after seeing the reception it's been receiving, I think this probably completely destroyed the chance of us getting a third game. Because they thought, the critics didn't like Mario Galaxy. They're probably not gonna like Mario Galaxy 3. So you know what? Let's fucking cancel it. That's probably not gonna happen, but I feel like that's something that could happen. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Mario Galaxy movie. I wish I wasn't talking about this. I wish I could be playing the game right now. If you love Mario Galaxy, I'm desperately asking you, sit this one out. It will not do it the game any justice whatsoever. It is a rushed, sloppy mess that completely misses the point of the game, that tries to have a story but crashes and fucking burns. Holy crap. I say holy crap a lot in this video. Yeah, you know what? Who cares? I'm losing my mind. No movie has made me this mad in a long time. The last movie that made me this mad was probably Artemis Fowl. And mind you, that's an even worse movie than this. And even then, I wasn't that pissed in my own video. I was kind of just burnt out. But this completely ruins a game that meant so much to me growing up, and trades it off for a lackluster, messy, soulless, substanceless pile of corporate slop that highlights everything wrong with adaptations these days. With video game adaptations more specifically, it throws in references, but there's no substance. With the first Mario movie, maybe there wasn't that much substance when it came to the story, but at least the references serviced the plot. The Donkey Kong Country segment was there for the story. A lot of the references, they were in the background, but they felt subtle. They didn't feel like they were in your face. With this one, oh look, there's Star Fox. I hope you like Star Fox, because he's going to be in here quite a lot. He's going to be in here than Rosalina. Oh, I hope you like Rosalina, because she's barely in this. She shows up in the opening and the ending. That's it. You got your Rosalina. Is that enough for you? No, it wasn't enough, Illumination. Fuck you. Okay. Maybe it's time to wrap up. Last point. So, this looks at Mario Galaxy, and it decides, you know what? Let's be the opposite of this game. This game is a masterpiece. Let's be the opposite of a masterpiece. And it creates... Anyways, it looks at Mario Galaxy, and I've lost my train of thoughts. Let's try this again. Okay, so I wouldn't be this mad if the game was adapting anything else. If it was just another... If this was adapting... If this was just simply titled Super Mario Bros. Movie 2, I'd think, okay, I'd be a bit more forgiving. I'd be like, okay, this is just trying to be another nostalgia fest, another reference, another onslaught of references that doesn't have that much of a story. All my problems with this movie probably would have been gone if this was just titled Super Mario Galaxy Movie 2. The Super Mario Bros. Movie 2. I am losing my mind. I can't even form a cohesive sentence anymore. I would have been fine if this was just Mario Movie 2. Because that's what it is. But this is Super Mario fucking Galaxy that you're adapting. In fact, let me give you a visualization of what the thought process of creating this game went. They looked at Mario Galaxy and thought... They looked at Mario Galaxy and they did this. Here we go. Have your movie. That's genuinely what I think what went on in the writer's room. They looked at Mario Galaxy and they decided to spit on its name. And as a result, we get damn near one of the worst... No. You know what? I'm going to say it. This is the worst video game adaptation I have seen in a while. I would rather sit through the Minecraft movie again than undergo this infuriatingly baffling bastardization of one of the greatest games ever made. It is not a love letter. It is an embarrassing bastardization and exploitative property that wants nothing more than to make money by ruining the name of this absolute masterpiece. And I hope to God they do not do it again with another game. Do me a favor, if you like Mario Galaxy, if you have some semblance of appreciation for this game, don't watch the movie, just play the game again. You will get 1,000 times more. You will derive 1,000 times more value from playing this game than you will watching the movie. But if your kids want to bring it, if your kids want to go see it, that's fine. That's cool. You can bring them to see it. I'm sure. I'm sure all the colors and all the sugar-coated visuals and action and mindless action and lack of story will keep their attention. But even then, I feel like a lot of kids are going to find this one boring. There were kids in my theater that were tired, that were not paying attention, that were playing games on their phone because they were so bored of this. Even the kids deserve better than this. Even the kids didn't appreciate this movie. Like, kids were coming out of the theater, and I heard one say, one of the parents asked, "Did you like the movie, Brady?" And Brady said, "Yeah, it was cool, I guess." And mind you, that kid was like 5 or 6 years old, and they will take in anything these days. But even he saw through the colorful veil of this movie to see that outside of all those flashy visuals, it is nothing more than an empty, soulless train wreck that completely misses the point of what it's adapting and completely and miserably fails at its story. You know what? I hate the story so much that I'm going to completely rewrite it. I'm going to make my own rewritten version of the script. I'm going to make a video about it. You know what? Yeah, I was going to put that in as a joke, but I'm actually going to do that. Because there were so many revisions, so many ways you could have tweaked this, so many things you could have expanded on to make this a genuinely really good film. But no, you took every possible bad route you could have went in terms of writing and story. You went every possible bad route you could have went in terms of pacing and subplots. There were so many galaxies that weren't even represented in this game. They didn't even have Gusty Garden Galaxy in this. You don't want to have the most iconic galaxy from the games. Actually, I'm not surprised by that because they didn't even put the title character in the movie as much. They didn't put Rosalina, the face of Mario Galaxy, in it. So of course they're not going to add in the most iconic galaxy from the game. This movie just completely forgets its identity. It forgets what it's adapting and just becomes an onslaught of mindless action and visuals. In fact, biggest indicator of this, the final battle, the movie remembers, oh yeah, I'm a galaxy. Let's throw in some of the power-ups. Let's throw in the cloud mushroom, the drill mushroom, that big red star thingy. And then it just completely gives up and says, you know what? Let's just go back to being a misguided adaptation. Here's Odyssey again. What are we doing? I have thrown in. There is so much. I could write a 10-page review for this movie, and I still wouldn't be able to get into in depth on everything that just completely makes it such a baffling adaptation. In fact, my love for Mario Galaxy is probably what brings this movie down in my mind. If I had never seen or consumed any Mario Galaxy content before this movie and watched it, maybe I would have given it a higher score. Critically, this is probably like a 5 out of 10, to be honest. But with my Mario bias and my love for Mario Galaxy, that drags it down to a 2 out of 10. I hope you're happy, Illumination. You just made your third worst movie, right behind The Grinch and, of course, Hop, because it's not that levels of bad, okay? I'd rather sit down for those. I'd rather sit down for this again with my kids instead of watching Hop. And And note, I don't have any kids. But if I did, I'd be fine with just throwing this on in the background and not giving it any attention. If I did sit down to watch it, I'd probably get pretty pissed. I don't want to scare any kids with that. But yeah, that is. Oh, that's all I got on my head right now for the Mario Galaxy. This movie drained me. Holy crap! I planned on making this a scripted, edited video, but you know what? I just decided to ramble on like Moist Critical, but then I completely lost my train of I completely lost my train of thought. Still am, and just kind of rambled on, throwing in random stuff, no structure. My video, in fact, this video is kind of like the Mario Galaxy movie. Barely any structure, just me throwing in random stuff, point A to point B, big, loud. Um, I know. I know what I'm trying to do right now. I don't know what this movie tried to do. I am completely baffled by this movie, just like a lot of you guys will be baffled by how this video turned out. But you know what? I don't care. Goodbye, guys. I'm done talking about this movie.